Hey there! Welcome back.
Hi, it's great to be here again. So, what are we diving into today?
Well, this episode kicks off a brand new topic that I think a lot of our listeners are going to love. It's all about fixing common pronunciation mistakes.
Oh, yes. That's something many learners struggle with. Even advanced speakers sometimes mispronounce basic words and don't even realize it.
Exactly. And in this first chapter, we're going to talk about why pronunciation matters, and we'll go over some of the most common mistakes learners make so that our listeners can start becoming more aware of them.
Let's get started then.
So, first of all, let's address the big question. Why does pronunciation even matter? I mean, if people understand you, isn't that enough?
That's a good point. And I'd say yes, being understood is the most important thing. But pronunciation is like a bridge. If your pronunciation is clear, it makes that bridge stronger. It helps people understand you faster and easier.
Yes, and here's the thing. Pronunciation isn't about sounding like a native speaker. It's about being clear and confident.
Right. When your pronunciation is too far off, it can lead to confusion. I've seen people say something like sheet, but pronounce it in a way that sounds, not so polite.
Yes, that one comes up a lot. The difference between sheet and the other word can be just a tiny sound, but it changes everything.
Exactly. So pronunciation is not just about being fancy. It helps you avoid awkward situations too.
All right, let's get into the real stuff now. Mistake number 1, confusing long and short vowel sounds. This is super common.
Yes. For example, let's take the words ship and sheep. Many learners pronounce both of them the same way. They say ship when they mean sheep.
I've heard that so many times. So the key is, ship has a short I sound, sheep has a long E sound.
Here's a tip. When saying sheep, smile a bit more and stretch the sound. Sheep. And for ship, make it short and quick. Ship.
Try this at home, everyone. Say, I saw a ship. I saw a sheep. Listen to how the meaning changes just from the vowel.
Here's another classic mistake. The th sounds, like in think and this.
Yes, these sounds don't exist in many languages, so learners often replace them with s, z, t, or d.
So instead of saying think, they say sink. Or this becomes dis.
It totally changes the word, and sometimes the sentence doesn't make sense anymore.
To pronounce these sounds correctly, you need to put your tongue between your teeth. It feels weird at first, but that's the trick.
Exactly. For th, like in think, blow air through your tongue and teeth. And for the, like in this, your voice should vibrate a little.
Let's do a quick practice. Think, sink. Thin, sin. This, dis. That, dat.
Awesome. Try saying them slowly first, then speed up as you get more comfortable.
Here's another common issue, silent letters. They confuse a lot of learners.
Yes, people see a word and try to pronounce every single letter. But in English, we love to ignore some letters.
Exactly. Like the word night. The K is silent. So you say Nate, not Nate.
Same with psychology. The P is silent. Or hour. You don't say the H.
One trick is to listen more. Don't just read, listen to how native speakers pronounce things. Apps, YouTube, podcasts like this one, they help train your ears.
Let's wrap up today's episode with a few simple tips that learners can start using today.
Yes. First, slow down when you speak. Rushing leads to mistakes.
Second, record yourself. This is so helpful. You'll hear what you actually sound like.
Third, practice shadowing.
Listen to a native speaker and repeat immediately after them. It trains your mouth and your ears.
And don't worry about your accent. Focus on being clear, not perfect.
And remember, practice makes progress, not perfection. You're not a robot.
Today, we covered why pronunciation matters and some of the biggest problems learners face.
Yes, from short and long vowels to those tricky th sounds to silent letters, we've got you covered.
In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into intonation and stress. How you say something can change everything.
You don't want to miss that. Until next time, keep practicing and keep speaking English with confidence. Let's start with word stress. What does that actually mean?
Good question. Word stress means that in English words, one syllable is usually stronger, louder, longer, and clearer than the others. That's the stressed syllable.
Exactly. Let's take the word banana. We don't say be-an-na or banana. The correct stress is on the second syllable, banana.
Right. If you stress the wrong syllable, people might not understand you, or they'll think you're saying a completely different word.
Another example is the word record. It's tricky because stress changes depending on how you use it. As a noun, I bought a new record. As a verb, I want to record a song.
That's a great one. So the meaning can change depending on the stress.
That's why practicing word stress is so important. When you learn a new word, try to learn where the stress goes, not just how to spell it.
Now let's move to sentence stress. This is about which words you emphasize in a sentence.
Right. In English, we don't say every word with the same strength. Some words are said more clearly. Those are content words, and others are said quickly or softly. Those are function words.
Let's do an example. Listen to this sentence. I'm going to the store to buy some bread. We stress going, store, buy, bread. The small words like to, the, and some are said more softly.
Yes, that rhythm, strong, weak, is part of what makes English sound like English.
Try saying it at home. I'm going to the store to buy some bread. You can feel the rhythm, like music.
Speaking English is like speaking a song. If you speak too flatly, no stress or rhythm, it sounds robotic. If you stress the wrong words, it sounds confusing.
Let's talk about intonation, the rise and fall of your voice when speaking.
Yes! Intonation tells listeners if you're asking a question, making a statement, being excited, or even sarcastic.
For example, listen to this question. Do you like coffee? My voice rises at the end. That's rising intonation. It tells you I'm asking something.
And for statements, we usually fall at the end. I like coffee. The voice goes down at the end.
Here's another fun one. Try saying, really? In different ways. Surprise, really? Doubt, really? Sarcasm, really? Flat tone, really?
Same word, different intonation, different meaning. That's powerful.
So why is this hard for learners?
Mostly because many languages don't use stress and intonation the way English does. Some languages are more flat in tone, or they stress every syllable equally.
Also, learners focus so much on grammar and vocabulary that they forget to train their ears and voices for rhythm.
Exactly. You might know all the words in a sentence, but if you speak without stress and intonation, people might not catch your meaning.
And worse, you might sound bored or confused, even when you're not.
Okay, now for the good stuff. How can our listeners improve?
First, listen and repeat. Watch TV shows, podcasts, or YouTube videos. Pause after a sentence and repeat it exactly how the speaker said it. Match their rhythm, tone, and stress.
That's called shadowing, and it's super effective. Don't worry about sounding silly. It's training your ear and mouth.
Second, record yourself. Say a sentence with stress and intonation. Then listen. Does it sound like the native speaker? What can you adjust?
Third, use apps like Elsa Speak or Youglish. They can help you hear native pronunciation and repeat it yourself.
And finally, have fun with it. Use your voice. Be expressive. Don't speak like a robot.
So today, we've learned that pronunciation is not just about sounds, it's also about rhythm and melody.
Yes, word stress, sentence stress, and intonation are key to sounding clear, natural, and confident in English.
And don't worry if it takes time. Every singer practices their rhythm. And as an English speaker, you're learning to sing in a new language.
That's beautifully said. In Chapter 3, we'll dive into consonant clusters, those tricky combinations of sounds that can make words hard to pronounce, like world and strengths.
It's gonna be a fun one. Until then, keep practicing and keep speaking English with energy and rhythm.
So, what exactly is a consonant cluster?
It's when two or more consonant sounds come together in a word without a vowel between them.
Exactly. For example, in the word play, we have the p and the l sounds next to each other. Pull. That's a cluster.
Another example is street. The S, T, and R sounds are all together. Stir. That's a cluster of three consonants at the beginning of a word.
And they're even harder when they're at the end of a word, like texts or asks.
Oh yes, so many learners drop a sound, like saying ask as us or texts as tex.
Why are consonant clusters so difficult?
Well, many languages don't allow consonant clusters. If your first language always separates consonants with vowels, then English words like grasp or twelfth feel very strange.
Yes, your mouth just isn't used to making those combinations. So what do people do?
They either skip a sound, like saying grass instead of grasp, or they add a vowel, like saying gur-asp.
It's totally normal, but if you do that too often, it can make your speech unclear.
Let's look at some common examples where people struggle.
Sure. Let's start with beginning clusters. School. Many learners say school. Train. They might say terrain. Clothes often becomes close or cloth.
Here are some hard ones at the end of words. Asked. A lot of people just say ask. Texts becomes tex. Helped sometimes becomes just help.
These final sounds are really important for clear meaning, especially with grammar. Saying talk and talked is not the same.
Okay, let's talk about how to actually get better at pronouncing clusters.
Yes, here's a method I love. Slow down and build it up. For example, with the word street, start with s, st, stra, stri, street.
That's excellent. You're training your mouth step by step. Don't rush it.
Another method is shadowing. Listen to a native speaker say a sentence, then repeat it exactly, focusing on those tricky words.
And don't forget to record yourself. Sometimes you think you're saying texts, but when you listen, you hear tex.
Let's give our listeners some practice sentences. Try to repeat after us.
Please clean the glass before class.
She asked him 3 times.
I sent 6 texts yesterday.
My strengths are in planning and strategy.
Don't be afraid to go slow. Break it down word by word. Mouth movements matter.
It's okay to struggle with these sounds. Everyone does. Really, even native English-speaking children take time to learn them.
The key is repetition and patience. Keep practicing and your mouth will get used to it.
Don't worry about being perfect. Your goal is to be understood, and every step you take helps with that.
Soon, words like world and strengths won't scare you anymore.
Let's start with the basics. What are silent letters?
They're letters that you write but don't pronounce. Like in the word knife. You see the K, but you don't say it.
Exactly. It's just knife, even though it starts with K. And these silent letters are all over the English language.
Some come from Old English, Latin, or French influences. Others just stuck around over time as the pronunciation changed.
So the spelling stayed old-fashioned, but the way we say the words evolved.
Let's look at the most common silent letters learners struggle with. We'll give you examples and how to say them correctly. 1. Silent K, knife. Say knife. No, say no. Knee, say knee.
Always remember, when K comes before N at the beginning of a word, don't say the K. 2. Silent B. Thumb, say thumb. Doubt, say doubt. Climb, say climb.
That silent B is sneaky. It's usually at the end of the word after M. 3. Silent L, calm. Say cam. Half, say half. Talk, say talk.
Silent L happens a lot. Learners often overpronounce it, but if you want to sound natural, just skip the L. 4. Silent W. Wrist, say wrist. Wrong, say wrong. Right, say right.
When W comes before R, don't pronounce the W. Just ignore it. 5. Silent T, castle. Say castle. Listen, say listen. Fasten, say fasten.
That's another tricky one. It's easy to think the T should be said, but it's not. 6. Silent GH. Night, say night. High, say high. Thought, say thought.
Yes, GH used to sound like a rough h or ch in Old English, but now it's silent in most words.
So why are silent letters important if we don't say them?
Because if you say them out loud, your pronunciation sounds strange or incorrect. For example, saying k now instead of no is a big giveaway that you're not used to English pronunciation.
Also, some silent letters change the meaning or help with spelling. Like right and right sound the same, but they're spelled differently.
It's helpful for reading and writing, but for speaking, you have to know when to leave them out.
Let's give our listeners some sentences to practice. Say them with us.
I know how to write with my right hand.
She climbed the mountain with a calm smile.
He couldn't fasten his wristwatch.
My thumb hurts after playing all night.
So, how do you train yourself to remember silent letters?
One tip: listen carefully. Watch videos or podcasts where people speak clearly. Pay attention to the sounds.
Also, when reading, underline silent letters. Get used to seeing them and knowing you don't need to say them.
Use online dictionaries with audio. When you look up a word, listen to the pronunciation, not just the spelling.
Remember, everyone makes mistakes with silent letters, even advanced learners.
It's okay. English spelling is hard, but you're doing the right thing by practicing with us.
Don't be afraid to sound strange at first. Practice out loud. Record yourself. Repeat.
And the more you hear and say it the right way, the more natural it becomes.
So let's break it down. A minimal pair is a pair of words that are almost identical, but they have one small sound difference, usually one vowel or consonant.
Exactly. For example, bit and beat. They differ only in the vowel sound, right?
Right. One is short, bit, the other is long, beat or beat, and the rest of the word is the same.
These small differences can make a big difference in meaning. If you say beach instead of bitch, yeah, that's awkward.
Totally. That's why working on minimal pairs is so important for clear communication. Let's go through some real examples of minimal pairs and explain the difference. 1. E versus I. Beat versus bit. Seat versus sit sheep. Ship.
These are super common. Many learners confuse the long I sound and the short I sound.
The long E sound is like in seat. Your mouth is wider, your lips stretch. The short I sound in sit is a little more relaxed.
Let's try it. Repeat after us. Beat, bit, sheep, ship, seat, sit. 2. A versus a. Cat versus cut. Bad versus budbat versus but.
These two are often confused by learners from Asia and Latin America.
The A sound is more open and forward, like in cat. The sound is more central and lower, like in cut.
Practice with us: cat, cut, bad, bud, bat, but. 3. E versus I. Pen versus pinmen versus mintin versus tin.
These are close too. Pen uses the E sound. Pin uses I.
Let's say them side by side. Pen, pin. Men, men. Ten, tin. 4. Voiced versus voiceless consonants. Pat versus bat. Fan versus vans. Sip versus zip.
This one's about voicing. A voiced sound uses your vocal cords. Put your hand on your throat when you say van or zip. You'll feel the vibration.
Try this at home, Pat. Bat, bat, fan. Van, zip, zip. So why do minimal pairs matter in everyday English?
Because if you say the wrong sound, people may misunderstand you. You might say, I need a sheet, and they hear something very different.
Also, minimal pairs improve your listening. You start noticing the small differences in other people's speech.
It sharpens your ears and makes your speech more natural.
Here are some ways to practice. Repeat with a mirror. Watch your mouth and listen to the sound. Record yourself. Say both words. Then listen and compare. Use audio tools. Websites or apps like Forvo, Elsa Speak, or YouTube pronunciation videos.
And of course, practice with a partner. One person says the word and the other guesses. Was it ship or sheep? Cut or cat?
That can be a fun game. You can even make flashcards with minimal pairs. Let's try full sentences now. Listen closely and repeat with us.
The ship is near the shore.
Sheep are eating in the field.
He cut the paper with scissors.
The cat jumped on the table.
She sat on the seat.
He is sitting in the center.
If this is hard at first, don't worry. You're training your brain and your tongue.
It's like going to the gym. Your pronunciation muscles need exercise. The more you do it, the better you get.
And even if you make mistakes, that's fine. Every time you practice a minimal pair, you get closer to fluency.
Exactly. Every time you hear the difference between bit and beat, you're growing your English ear.
So today, we explored minimal pairs, tiny sound changes that make a big impact.
And we gave you examples, exercises, and some fun practice ideas to build your skills.
So today, we explored minimal pairs, tiny sound changes that make a big impact.
And we gave you examples, exercises, and some fun practice ideas to build your skills.
Thanks again for joining us at Pocast Speak English. Keep repeating, keep listening, and remember, English is a journey, not a test.
See you in the next episode.
Bye!